Dear students, welcome to our class on Micrometeorology of crops, water 4. In this class, we try to understand what is dew, what are the ways in which dew is formed, and the significance of dew I have already covered earlier. Here, I would like to discuss with you the factors that determine the dew formation. What are the factors that determine the dew formation? Here, I would like to impress upon you once again that in my earlier classes I have demonstrated that here there are some ice cubes. Okay, these are the ice cubes. This is the water in a cup. Okay, this is the water in a cup. These are the ice cubes. If I put the ice cubes in this water, here what happens is outside this glass, you find some droplets of water. The temperature here is the dew point temperature. So why it is happening is that when the ice is getting melted here, the air near this the walls, it gets saturated. The air near the walls of this glass cannot hold water in the form of molecules. So they are converted into drops of water. Water vapor becomes saturated, and the temperature of this glass outside, I am feeling it cool here as compared to surrounding. So this is the dew point temperature. So another example is see, when you take two pipes and a shower. One is a cold pipe and the other one is a hot pipe. So when you release the water in the cold pipe to a shower, so what happens is the pipe, if it is not insulated, the pipe is not insulated, the pipe starts cooling down. Once it starts cooling down, what happens? Similar thing happens. Air near that pipe cannot hold molecules of water vapor. Molecules of water in the form of water vapor. So those molecules become liquid, and then they are condensed on the tube of the cold water, which is not insulated here. So what I am interested to impress upon you is that in frost protection and in irrigation aspects and for certain crops like Bengal gram, the dew is very, very important. So dew formation and its use have a lot of significance. Simply, I try to enlighten you in the remaining part of 8 or 9 minutes of this class. Now, what is once again, no need to write. I told several times what is dew, what is dew point. I told. Once again, I would like to just read a clear-cut, simple definition of dew. Dew is the deposit of water droplets on objects. Dew is the deposit of water droplets on objects. In this case, the glass. In other example, the cold pipe which is not insulated in the shower, when we get the shower. Now, the surface of which is sufficiently cooled. Generally by in the crops, it is by nocturnal radiation. Here it is because of the ice, to bring about the direct condensation of the water vapor from the surrounding air. Direct condensation of water vapor from the surrounding air. That's what I told. Here, I would like to impress upon you an application. See, whenever roads are laid by the governments or local bodies, particularly on the both sides of roads, if shrubs are planted, what happens if a little areas which are drought prone, for example, so if little rain occurs, the roads are usually in the concave shape. Road, if it is a road like this, usually it is in the concave shape, like Now, if you plant shrubs here, what happens is, if little rain occurs, it is collected here by evening. Now, so what happens is, during the night, radiation cooling occurs on the road, and the water vapor condenses on the shrubs, and then shrubs grow. So, this is a practical application. Innumerable applications of dew we have discussed in the basic courses, Introductory Agrometeorology, Climate Change, even in the advances also. Here, the factors which we have not covered they have got significance with regard to micrometeorology. That's why I am covering it here. And another interesting thing I would like to share with you is why dew point is important as compared to the relative humidity. So what is relative humidity? Relative humidity is defined as the it is the ratio between the amount of water vapor present in the atmosphere to the amount of water vapor required for saturation, which is expressed in the form in percentage. It is relative humidity is the amount of water vapor present in the atmosphere to the it is the ratio between the amount of water vapor present in the atmosphere to the amount of water vapor required for saturation, expressed as percentage. Now here, say for example, if you take dew point and relative humidity, I would like to compare. We go for, as an agrometeorologist and particularly micrometeorologist, I prefer dew point temperature over RH. Why I prefer dew point over RH? I just try to impress upon you that if the air temperature is 21, if as I said, relative humidity is a function of temperature. Now standard is 14 degrees centigrade, 20 and say some 40 degrees centigrade is there. Usually these are the standard figures, centigrade, temperature degree centigrade. What is the water vapor? Water vapor that can be held, water vapor in terms of grams per meter cube. Now here 12 grams, here you can say 17, here it is 51. That means at 14 degrees centigrade the water vapor that can be held by the atmosphere is this much. This is the relation between, this is what I have written. So atmosphere, amount of water vapor in the atmosphere, it is like this: 14, 20, 40. Standard figures are standard: 12, 17, 50% grams per meter cube. Now if let us take an example. Let us take a simple example. Let us see. Let us take only 40 degrees centigrade. Otherwise 14 degrees centigrade, the water vapor is 6 grams per meter cube, for example. At what? 14 degrees centigrade. What it would have been actually for saturation, it is 12. It is 12. For 14 degrees centigrade, it is 12 grams per meter cube. But what is actually present in the atmosphere when I am taking the class in this room? In this room, 6 grams per meter cube is the water vapor. Now the temperature of this room is presumed at 14 degrees centigrade. Under 14 degrees centigrade, what is the water vapor that can be held for 12 grams per meter cube? Now, what is the relative humidity? Relative humidity is 6 by 12 into 100. So that is the 50% in my room where we are taking our class. The RH is 50%. Now that means it is a temperature dependent. Whereas dew point temperature, for example, an engineer is interested to cool this room, our classroom, he would prefer dew point rather than temperature, because it is virtually impossible to control all the things that are required for humidity control. So that's what I would like to share with you. Now here in the remaining 4 or 5 minutes of our class, I would like to discuss with you factors that determine dew formation. How the dew is formed, we have told. What is dew point? What is dew point temperature? On the surface, when you go to 300 feet, 3000 feet, if you go to 6000 feet, the temperature goes on decreasing. However, the dew point temperature goes on increasing. So this is what is the usual. Now here, what are the factors that determine the dew formation? How and when the dew is formed, I would like to share with you. Any important point is there, please ready to note down. One, the first factor is clear sky. Now, for the formation of dew, there should be clear skies. If the sky is covered with low clouds, for example, the sky is, this is where I am standing, for example. I am standing here, this is the surface of the earth. Here I am standing on open surface. Now, if any clouds are there, whether it is stratocumulus stratus, nimbo stratus, or clouds with vertical development, whatever it may be. If clouds are there, the nocturnal radiation is sent back. Now, if clouds are not there, what will happen? A clear sky is there. Okay, if the clear sky is there, what will happen? The nocturnal radiation will, yes, estimated very smooth it will go. Now, what happens on a clear day, 2, 4, 5, 6 degrees centigrade, okay, temperature is less on me or over a tree here, okay, as compared to surrounding air. So, clear skies are very important for dew formation. The second one is the degree of exposure. Degree of exposure means, suppose a single tree is there. A single tree is there in an open field like this. In an open field like this. Single tree is like this. This is a tree, for example. This is the surface. Now, a single tree get exposure to sky. Sky view, we call it as sky view. In a very pleasant way. If more trees are there, what will happen? More trees are there, the exchange of temperature takes place. If more trees are there, the exchange of temperature takes place. That's why they become warm relatively. So, the second point is exposure. More the exposure, okay, more will be the cooling, and there will be dew formation possibilities are very, very good for as far as second point is. As far as the third point is concerned, what is the third point? The low winds. Winds usually at 3 meters per second. Winds of 3 meters per second are ideal for a formation of dew. 3 meters per second are ideal. If it is 5 to 6 meters per second, what will happen? Wind speed, here the same example. See, if wind speed is less than 3 meters per second, what will happen? So, naturally, the molecules of air, surrounding air that are replacing are almost same that of the touching this particular surface of this one. If it is 5 to 6, from different locations wind molecules will become, they have different temperatures. So, the formation of dew is, possibility is less if it is 5 to 6, if it is more than 6, no formation of dew. So, that means, the dew formation is a function of, again, the winds. Third one is the density of air. Say for example, it's a classical example, if you go to mountainous areas or villages in the mountains, in the mountainous areas, so the lowest part possible, that's what we call it as the valley. Okay, if a village is there in a valley, there the humidity, the dew formation is more as compared to the surface of the slope of the mountains. Why? Because when once air gets cool in the surface, it drains cool air is heavier than the warm air. So cool air drains off into the valley. Once it is reaching cool air, dew formation is more. That's why if you see the villages from a mountain, even in the villages, so lowest parts will have more dew as compared to slightly elevated areas. This is the relation between the density of air and dew formation. Heat conduction, very interesting. Heat conduction. Say for example, if you take a very good emitter like this, if you keep this particular emitter over a very good thermal conductivity, very good for thermal conductivity. So, the dew formation is less as compared to, okay, when you keep this on the non-thermal conductivity material like thermocol. If you keep like this, presume that this is the saucer and the cup, okay, this is a good conductor of heat, okay, so this is a very good emitter. Here dew formation is less, or possibility is less as compared to when I keep a thermocol in place of this particular plate, because the sixth point and fifth point are almost very interesting, they are equal. So what is the sixth point? The emissivity. So more the emissivity, more is the cooling, therefore dew formation is more. Here, even though it is emitting, but if it is on the steel plate, that is a very good thermal conductor, okay, the dew formation possibility is less as compared to when I keep this on the thermocol, which is not a good thermal conductive material. So this is what I would like to share with you. These have got very good practical applications with reference to frost protection of crops in areas, in temperate areas, orchards, and application of irrigation and all these things. So the dew is very important. That's why I have covered in the, even though it is a form of condensation, okay, dew is one of the forms of condensation, but it is the water. So it is used by Bengal gram crop in an extensive way, excellent way, and then production of Bengal gram is very, very high when dew is more, or okay, under these circumstances. Thanking you for your patient hearing.